We're being joined by Ambassador Joachim Bitterlich, who is a former national security advisor to the former German Chancellor Helmut Kohl and who's also the former German ambassador to NATO. Ambassador Bitterlich, thank you very much indeed for joining us here on WION. And let me in fact start off by asking you, in your opinion, how do you think Moscow is, of course, reacting to reports to the fact that Ukraine is in fact using Western weapons for carrying out this incursion into Russian territory?
Well, it's not the first time that Russia has mentioned the case of Western weapons, and they have even shown in Moscow some months ago, in May, weapons the Russians have conquered in eastern Ukraine, in the Donbas region, and they showed up French, German, and American weapons. Therefore, for me, no news, no valuable news insofar.
But how do you think the Americans would, of course, be looking at these developments? Because so far, it is the United States of America which had, backed the Ukrainians with their weapons. They had said that Ukraine can use these Western weapons so long as it is defending itself on its territory. But the fact that Ukraine is now on the offensive, it has carried out an incursion into Russia. How do you think the United States would look at it, considering the explosive nature of escalation this could result in?
Well, I understand Americans or Western Europeans are looking at this incursion with a certain nervosity, because reflecting what will be, first of all, the goal, what will be the real result of it. Will this help the Ukrainians really to get a certain money of exchange with regard to their own occupied territories in the east against Russia? Or isn't this, let's say, as your colleague mentioned, a certain humiliation, a certain offense against Putin, underlining his own weakness in this fight and trying, let's say, to push him to negotiations? And therefore, I understand Western nervosity on this, because the question is really, what will the Ukrainians, what they want to reach? Second, what will they reach at the end? Because the Russian forces have to be reoriented and they have to build up a certain defense, because the Ukrainians did not meet a real defensive forces in the southern Kursk region, because the Russians did not expect any attack there. They were even preparing own attacks, own counterattacks from this region. Because it's the region with weaknesses of the Russians. And therefore, let's say, it's difficult to judge exactly what will be first the Russian response. The Russian response has to be severe. I read voices from southern Russia who are asking for a severe answer of the Russian leadership insofar, because it's Russian territory, it's not Ukrainian territory, it's not the territory of anyone else. Kursk, don't forget, in the history of the Second World War, the Kursk battle has been one of the most important battles of the war between Russia and Germany at that time. It's of symbolic nature for Russia. And therefore, I think the Ukrainians have taken a certain risk. Let's see how far they are able, let's say, to play, let's say, to be within a certain risk management.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. I think you've summed it up beautifully there. Thank you very much indeed, Ambassador Bitterlich, for joining us and getting us that perspective there.
A pleasure as always. Goodbye.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.